911 dispatcher, remember the most moronic. A call for the entire history of your work. An ambulance worker is considered a 19-year-old. The guy called an ambulance because he had the hand of too long a game of Xbox. My little sister once called 911 because her tiny lizard pulled into bathroom pipe pour. The child just wanted to bathe his GI. His name was Steve. Sobbing, she dialed 911 and informed them that Steve drowns. He was sucked down the pipe by that. The moment when it turned out that Steve the gecko was already on its way to our house by the police. The fire brigade nurse was then old. 6. I'm still teasing her on this one topic, but I feel sorry for Steve and his mother has power. Works as a 911 dispatcher. Sometimes she has to answer the extreme idiotic calls, for example, for several years. A big accident occurred earlier, which claimed the lives of several people at once. Naturally, a traffic jam formed in a few kilometers at this moment in the 911. A woman called and asked to send police to escort her to at home, because why the hell should I be stuck in? I need to listen to this traffic jam. Lady, by the way, people died here. Somehow get over what you missed the start of your favorite show before. Then someone asks, no, she did not have health problems, except for megalomania. I am a nurse working as a dispatcher. Round-the-clock hotline for people with whose health problems. My main task is to be determined a person to apply for urgent medical care or not is remembered. Several favorite stories at once, but I'll tell you this. A girl with a decent sentence calls. I don't remember exactly what pregnancy, but clearly more than 30 weeks old and anxious. Asks me to explain why the doctor said to refuse intimate contacts before end of pregnancy. After checking her details and seeing that there were premature contractions, I started to tell that sexual activity can cause contractions, so she feels better to abstain so that the child remains inside as long as possible. She is happy, but how? Then to feed the baby. I'm sorry, ma'am, you. Could you repeat that you have just? The patient was told how to feed me then. If we abstain from. In general, the patient was convinced that the child feeds on semen and both guys and. What if they stop having sex activity, then their child may die from hunger when I tried to explain. What does she need the umbilical cord for, and so on. She didn't believe me at first. I had to give the example of single mothers and ask how they carry according to her logic and feed their children. After a minute of silence, she thanked me, and before she hung up, I heard her shout her name. He apparently bred the guy and Spielwilli, and he was good at not. I know who I feel more sorry for, him or child who will have to live in this. My mother used to work for the family 911 dispatcher when she got a job. She told my brother that now it works where they call by dialing 911. The next day the little one called the 911 because I wanted to tell my mom how his day has passed. I am not a dispatcher, but I want to tell about my ex's call. He always worked the evening shift. Returned from work at about 2 o'clock. But that night he left. A few hours later, the former. Hello, I would like to report on fire. We live in a place where fires are constantly happening, plus then there was a 911 church fire season going on. A fire that was on a mountain slope in the south. City 911 can more accurately print something. In the background, the X before describes the exact location. Oh no, God, it becomes. The whole top of Mountain 911 is burning more and more. Sir, please don't worry, help already on the way. The former, damn it, he's getting bigger and bigger. I am the only one who sees it coming from him. Such a light, the whole sky is glowing. Oh. Wait, 9/11 Sir Former. Forgiveness, the fact is that I rarely. I am on the street today. I was late at work in general, this fire. This is the sun. 911X forgive me please me. Also from what I wasted your time. There is no fire, it's just the sun. I was very ashamed 911 nothing. Scary sir I'll cancel the call thank you for. Bell. Changed he said that I lowered the pair. Details so updated a comment. The ambulance doctor had a case when we sent at 3 o'clock at night to a dude who picked at his wart. Frightened by the blood, I called 911. All such a story my mother works. Operator 91 called her 11 times. Some schoolgirl and in a panic at full speed. Seriously reported that on the phone. A squirrel sits near her school and does not. Gets off as someone can come to. Head what it is. Emergency. I didn't understand the hike, the squirrel could have fallen. One time someone calls and report that he is being harassed, and on. In fact, he was being spun at that moment. Our officers because the dude was throwing himself into. Passers-by with pizza could be heard as against the background. One of our cops tells him to pray. So that you are not connected with our operator. After which my colleague took it from him. Phone and told me that the guy would go with them and hung up the phone. I'm still laughing when I remember it. Once, Bukaya called us at 911. The woman complained that she had forgotten the password from the phone, and I somehow also accidentally. I blocked my phone and called the 911. I have entered the wrong code several times and I didn't know what to do next from the options. There was only an emergency call my young. My brain decided that I would be tied up from the service, which will help me reset my password, but instead, I heard 911 that you have happened. Wait a minute, oh the hell I didn't know. Sorry, you're fine, yes everything. It's good to ask please give me a day. I have been in this business for 22 years if the call begins with the words, I swear I don't. Crazy, then it's better to immediately morally to prepare for something extremely. Ice cream. One day, with these words, a call began. Dude who ran away from his hut to the nearest store because its roommates are now turning into giant crabs. He asked to be sent officers to look at how they transform into giant cocoons. You guessed it, dude. Experienced a powerful BD rip. I am not a dispatcher, but the prosecutor has a story about a kid from dormitories in general. They had a common space where residents could come to any moment to rest, and there was microwave oven kindly provided by the owner of this building. So once the microwave disappeared and this kid called 911 in the middle of the night to report a missing person to a conversation with the dispatcher was something like this, a dispatcher. And so you dialed 911 because someone stole someone else's microwave oven. You did not specify the owner, maybe he is her. Took the kid, no dispatcher, that SR is not emergency call to the Potsam, but I am very. The hungry dude turned out to be persistent. I tried to explain to the dispatcher what it was. The worst thing that ever happened to him happened meanwhile on the line of fun. People who are in a row. This genius asked for help. A police squad to deal with the loss. Microwave oven, and he really. They sent a couple of policemen, but not for the sake of microwave ovens, and to teach him a lesson for mishandling 911 in court. He pleaded not guilty and demanded jury trial. The court needed only 20 minutes to pass a guilty verdict. Verdict believing that the judge laughed for 17 minutes. From missing Ellen, then 2 minutes. Came to himself, and only in the last I thought about the decision for a minute. I was an ambulance doctor. Help at 2 o'clock in the morning, a call was received from. Young girl complained her legs turned blue. Upon arrival, it turned out that she had been all night. I hung out in the club in new jeans now. I go to our nursing school. In one textbook it is written that if a person complains about the settlement of palms I need to ask if he is not wearing or he is wearing new ones. Jeans looks like it's pretty. Common garbage. I work in the center. Traumatology once to us in an ambulance. They brought a guy who just broke. He and his wife demanded a finger for themselves. Ambulance, although they were literally in a couple blocks away from us all because of a broken finger. Changed somehow they were delivered to us. The man who decided to refuel. Lawn mower smoking a cigarette summary. 60% of the body burn. Extremely sad and at the same time stupid. History worked as a 911 operator on. For 15 years of history, one in bulk. Once someone called 911 to ask how to properly smoke brisket. Once someone called 911 to find out what are the fines for parking. Once someone called 911 to wish Merry Christmas to me. It was 3. At 1 o'clock in the morning I worked alone on Christmas Day. Once someone called 911 because his trunk jammed and he did not know how. He was once called by someone calling 911 because he saw in his village dark-skinned man and said that we had. Such people are usually not found. This is somehow questionably. And people call 911 because it was just lonely to receive such calls. Probably 1,000, well, there were a lot of other things. I've been there for a long time. Worked whether citizens abuse system, undoubtedly, yes, but in general I am happy that the younger generation, knowing that in 9/11, you need to call only when your life under threat or nearby crime. I 911. This conversation is recorded that you happen to be calling them. I don't know this. An important renet 4 days ago I noticed that a truck drove up to my neighbor's U-Haul, a company that helps with moving, so the caller did not get out of it. 2 suspicious types. I saw them. They walked around the house. According to their movements, it is clear that they should not be there. 4 days ago I said caller AA. I'm worried because the neighbors. Now they should not have anyone on vacation. B. I'm good, we'll check everything. It turned out that the neighbors had all the house cleaned. The most valuable was successfully stolen in. There was nothing at the local pawnshops anymore. Because they are always aware of when they brings the stolen goods and sells them as. You can rather professional advice if something seems suspicious to you, not need to break down for a long time, call the police or no, if the dispatcher considers your complaint insignificant, then you can roll on it. Complaint used to work as a 911 operator was a call from a woman who reported that goes after a man who has one leg sticking out of the car, said that she was following. It has not exceeded it for some time. The belt was in place with no one behind the wheel. He was texting, she just stuck one foot out of the window. It was very important to her that the police I came and punished him. Explained to her that the man does not violate no laws, unfortunately, in her head. Did not fit as it is allowed in our country to go with my leg out on the cheats for me. The fact that I don't know the laws, she gave up. Phone and called 911 Nadezhda again. That it is connected to another operator who will help her punish that man. But I was in touch again. I redirected to her deputy sheriff, who explained to her, what if she doesn't stop calling 911? For trifles, he will receive a fine for emergency services abuse. When my sidekick was very small, he called 911 and told them that his aunt While giving birth, she was already in the hospital. It reminded me of the family story of they who I worked as a nanny dispatcher that you happen to have a 4-year-old child. I cut my finger, the dispatcher is coming out of it. Blood of a 4-year-old child and a little bit. Dispatcher, say baby, and mom or dad. Nearby, one of them can wash it. Finger and seal the wound with a plaster. A 4-year-old child, mom is nearby, but she fell and does not speak in general small. I called not because he cut himself, but because he showed his cut from paper to my mother lost consciousness when in the form of 1 drop of blood on yes she. I banged my head, lay some kind of time without consciousness, sorry, but okay, since you are so. If you want to continue, then here she is mom. Taken to the hospital, pumped up there. Oxygen and dashingly, why shorter, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that she woke up on the same day and everything was fine with her, her head remained. She is whole, she is a great mom, just a little impressionable. Anika was presented to his 4-year-old son. Super trendy Elma Band-Aid from the street. Sesame, my washing machine tells me that I have to declare myself bankrupt is. It was a little sad because I called. I was very confused, an elderly woman at that time. Moment I seemed to be speechless and in my opinion, I answered her, and you are a big thanks for browsing in the comments, people who work in similar organizations. Write your stories and don't forget. See our other releases so far.